Hey everyone, I'm Sarah Gerlich. I'm a first year from Burbank, California. Yeah, and I'm an outfielder, biology major.
Hi, I'm Meredith Moore, and I'm also a first year. I'm from Michigan, and I'm a second baseman, bio major as well.
Awesome. So we're gonna do a little talk on mental health today. Yeah, we have a few questions set up, but if anyone has any questions, please feel free to chime in.
Okay, so our first question is, how do you define mental health as a student athlete?
So for mental health as a student athlete, I think there's a lot of components to that. Whether you're in the right mindset for your game day, competition, or just practice, and also going back to school, you're still a student, so you have to have clear mindset for pretty much all the roles that you play in your everyday basis, and being able to switch back and forth is a really important part.
Yeah, I definitely think as a student athlete, mental health is one of the most important things. Just with being the best teammate you can be, being at your highest performance during games and practices. And yeah, I just think it's a really important thing that you take care of yourself as an athlete, and also um, have great time management with academics on top of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, Yeah, I think that making sure that you have mental health is a part of the game that's not always talked about, and understanding that as Smith College softball, we're really trying to make sure that everyone understands each other, and being open about what's going on in your everyday life is a big part of it, because that helps your teammates understand you and what's up in your life.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, you want to move on? Is there any
Yeah, that
questions?
sounds good.
No. What contributes to mental health in your eyes?
So I also think that there's a big part, like there's just a lot of aspects of this, whether it's like your social life, academic life, sport life, all that part of your life. And I think that it's really important to balance the ones that you value most. So for me, for instance, like mental health looks totally different for softball than school. Both I want to have clear minds, but one has more focus involved and energy involved rather than mental health for school when I'm trying to get work done, but still stay focused. There's just two different ways. And I think that you can kind of go about that whichever way you want, whatever way you have to get through that. Like, my big thing is when I start walking to like any sport event, I start getting in the mindset to play and do my best for that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely different for everyone in your priorities and like what you choose to prioritize and spend the most time on, and just what mindset you choose to be in. So for student athletes, we really have to prioritize our academics and also our athletics, which makes it sometimes hard to also balance that with social life and everything else, like a job and all that stuff. So you just really have to find that balance and determine what you want to prioritize.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
Anything else?
No, I'm good for this one.
Yeah. If you have any questions or anything, you can just pop that in the comment section. Okay, so what advice would we give to an incoming student athlete in regards to organization, resources, scheduling, etc.?
Calendars are amazing.
Calendars, lots of them, everywhere. One in your room, one on your phone,
Yeah.
one on your laptop.
I didn't really believe in them in high school per se. Now that's one of my favorite, not favorite things to do, but really important. I have a calendar that has like the whole month in a page, and then like separate weeks. So like what I'll do is I'll plan like due dates and stuff for assignments, or like game days, practice times, and like the overhead view of the month. And then for the weekly ones, I'll kind of like schedule like a game plan for that day of what I want to get done. And then sometimes if I'm really just not feeling motivated that day, I'll just put like an hour by hour schedule. So like if I really don't want to do an assignment, I'll be like, it's okay, 59 more minutes left, like, or whatever like I need to do to get through that.
Mhm. Yeah. So definitely time management and organization was definitely a big thing to me. Like from changing from high school to college. When I was in high school, I kind of took on a lot, and I was always like really overwhelmed, and I knew like I didn't really want my college experience to be
Mm-hmm.
like that. So as an incoming student athlete, I really think that you have to learn to say no sometimes and just to really do what you love and take like you know what I mean, like not taking on too much, not overwhelming yourself, um, doing what you love, staying focused on sports and athletics, and just having the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just just keeping very organized. Also, as an athlete, I think it makes time management a lot easier,
Yeah.
because your whole schedule is kind of revolved around practices and
Mm-hmm.
lifts and team events along with academics. So it's pretty easy to manage your time on a sports team,
Yeah,
I think.
I totally agree. I think Emma posted a question. So she said, what's the most challenging part of adjusting to college for your mental health? That's an awesome question, honestly. Like, I totally agree with what Mary was saying. I took on way too much in high school and I just didn't really value my mental health. I was like, yeah, I can just keep pushing and then push, 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 and I'll just end up in college somehow. And now that I'm in college, I realize that that's just not the life I wanted to live anymore. It was really stressful. I didn't have a ton of fun in high school. So I think that coming to college, it was a great experience to find so many people that value their mental health and know how to help you and are really open about it, because that helped me a lot to be open about it and value it.
Yeah, definitely the same for me. Like our softball team especially is it's just really a safe environment for being able to express your mental health and to talk about it and to like just have people who you can struggle with and thrive with. And I really it's definitely changed my mentality and
Mm-hmm.
definitely helped my mental health grow. And I take a lot more time toward my mental health now, definitely.
Yeah, the softball team was a big part of mine too. They're It's amazing to have so many people there for you, which was great when I was coming in because I was so worried. I was like, I'm going to be in college and there's going to be so much softball and I'm never going to have time to just like take a second. But it's great to have a team that understands what you're going through.
Yeah, I feel like everyone can always relate on some sort of level, and it's really
Mm.
comforting and nice to have people to
Yeah.
talk to. Okay, so the next question is somewhat similar. How do you organize your life as a student athlete?
Yeah. So besides
Uh,
calendars,
I
I
know
would
something.
say understanding different days of the week. That sounds really weird, but like I make sure that Saturday, like no schoolwork is done. Like,
Me
yeah.
too. I do the same thing. Free
Like
day.
I just take
Totally
that
free
day to
day.
do whatever, whether it's like kayaking on Paradise Pond or hanging out with friends or going to the movies. Like I it's a good day to have a break. And Sunday I start like getting back into school and making sure I have everything together. Um yeah, I just really have to have separate days so I can focus on mental health on Saturdays.
Yeah, I feel like it's school, like the school year goes by a lot easier too if you get into like a really good
Mhm.
flow. So like it's kind of tough at the beginning of a semester usually, but after a while you're kind of like in this constant cycle, and it feels like it flies by honestly after a while. So
Yeah.
just trying to like stick to that cycle
Mhm.
is really
At
helpful.
home, I feel like now that we're on like online university and stuff, I feel like it's a lot harder to stick to a schedule. I'm now starting to find that I'm not a morning person, so I do more work later in the day, which I wish I knew earlier in the school year. But yeah, that was a good adjustment while we're at home and everything.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely way different at home on Zoom University. Uh, So hopefully we don't have to go through this again, and hopefully the incoming first years don't have to um, go through any of this online schooling, because it's a lot easier to take care of yourself and your mental health while you're at
Yeah,
school, in my
I totally
opinion.
agree, especially because there's so many things to do at school. Like,
Hmm.
I've never gone kayaking before in my life. And I'm from Southern California, so like water's not a huge part of your everyday life. But like kayaking was a really awesome way to just take some time and have peace. Same with going on walks and like the forest and everything. That was really, really nice to have the opportunity to do.
Yeah, Smith is definitely a really beautiful campus. So like just walking around Paradise Pond or anything, just a nice break. Sad we can be there in the spring. It
I
looks
was
really
so
pretty.
excited. Oh my God.
It
I
was
see all the photos of the flowers and stuff. Oh, they're so pretty. But next spring it'll be okay.
next spring. Also, the winter is also fun. Like sledding and
Yeah.
stuff. That was always fun.
Yeah, I think I went sledding like once as a kid, and then I was like, yeah, I can do this. Like, it's not that hard. And then you know that like really big hill behind the fields?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Did you go down it?
I don't know if I'm gonna go sledding again, but the snow is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So just more advice,
Does
more
anyone have any
advice to
questions?
income. Income. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh whoa. Uh, Someone asked, how do you get out of slumps that you may have while in college? It's a while
that's
ago.
awesome. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think the biggest part is understanding that you're in one. That's the
True.
best part. That's like the biggest part of it. And then I think that having kind of like a plan of attack, like understanding how to get out of it, looks totally different for everyone. But for me personally, like if I realize that I'm just like in a bad mental state or like something's up, the biggest thing that I realize is after realizing it, I start to feel better and then I'll try to talk to it with my friends or my teammates, and slowly it'll get better. Sometimes that's more of an adjustment for everyone. It depends on who you are, but that's one of my biggest ways to get out of a slump.
Yeah, so my first semester I went through a pretty bad slump, and at first I kind of like internalized it and it kind of got worse. So if you're going through that slump, one thing I would say is to just like lean on other people and just really like trust other people and talk through it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be ashamed. Everyone goes through the
Mhm.
slumps. And yeah, just like, yeah, just relying on other people to help you through it.
Yeah.
Definitely a big
Hmm.
important thing.
I totally agree. And if you have to take like a mental health day, whatever works for you is making sure that you're the priority in your life. Any other ways
Mhm.
that we
Any other
organize
questions?
our life?
I don't know.
Mm,
There's lots of calendars. I have calendars
yeah.
everywhere. I have to-do lists everywhere.
Yeah. Also making appointments. So a big thing in college is also what do you call it? Office hours. So understanding that those are
Hmm.
available is wonderful. Um, I was afraid to go
True.
to office hours maybe like halfway through the first semester, and I was like, I feel like I'm just gonna interrupt and I feel like I want to sound dumb. But honestly, like the professors are so awesome, and just getting on top of problems as soon as they start makes life so much easier. Like I procrastinated a lot in high school and there's just no time for that in college. But yeah, a few times for essays and stuff, I procrastinated and I hate writing, I really do. But I procrastinated it, and whenever I did that, I just felt even more stressed and it just didn't go too hot.
Yeah, the professors are definitely very understanding and
Hmm.
helpful. Most of them are. And just like utilizing those office hours whenever possible, even if you're not really struggling in the
Hmm.
class, just like getting to know that professor can be a really good thing.
Yeah.
And it can really, can help you learn more maybe.
I totally agree. Also, like, if you talk to your professors more and more, you'll start to understand who you want as your advisor. So that's like a little, that's
true.
good.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Anything else?
Any other questions? I'm gonna switch out and one of our teammates is gonna pop in for the rest of the questions. Okay, I think that's it.
All right. Bye, Mare.
All right.
See you soon.
Bye. See you soon.
Hey everyone, so my teammate Emma Gardecki is gonna pop in really soon. Any questions, please comment down below. Yeah. Hey Emma.
Hey. So hi, I'm Emma. I'm a sophomore, stats major, and I'm a pitcher. Yeah, I think that's me.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm gonna start with the rest of the questions. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question we have is, how is being a student athlete attested to your mental health?
I think it's a big relief, like especially when you've had like a tough day of classes, to be able to like come out to the softball field or go to lift and just like get out all of your frustration with like a group of people that you really know and like you really trust to be around. That's like for me the best therapy that you can have is like those days when nothing is going well and you just need to like go out and lift something heavy and like or throw some good pitches and like feel so much better about yourself.
I totally agree. I also look forward to our story circle every day. Like, that just makes my day. It doesn't matter what everyone else's stories are. There's always just one that's really funny and just completely makes my day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And, like, I think with our story circle especially, like it gives everyone a chance to say, yeah, I've had a good day, or no, I haven't had a good day. And we can all like feel each other's energy off of that and really like be there in like the way that you need to be there for all of your teammates.
Yeah. Everyone's also super understanding of what you need that day. So if you just need to chill or be by yourself, they totally understand. Or if you really want to get pumped up and have someone scream in your face, they're there for that too. Whatever you need is great. So I also really look forward to lift every day. Just the music and lift partners are awesome. It always makes my day. So yeah.
Yeah. I would also say that just like having Coach Lopez and for me like our athletic trainer Deb is probably like my biggest advocate in the entire athletic department, probably on campus. I love Deb with my whole heart. I go to her with all of my issues and I say, Deb, this is what I'm going through, please help me, and she always does. But just finding like those people in your life makes a huge difference for like mental health, especially at college, and being on a team just gives you even more people for that to like for it to find your person.
Mm-hmm. I totally understand. Coach Lowe is also really an awesome coach for understanding mental health and being able to say like, hey, do you need a mental health day today? Yeah, no worries, go for it. Do whatever you got to do today, which is really amazing. I've never had a coach that cared about her players as much as she does, and that was a huge, amazing thing to come into.
Yeah, Coach Lopez is really good with all like mental health and or if you like want to come to practice but you're not really having a day, like she's very good at understanding that too.
Mm-hmm.
To say like I'm gonna give 100% of what I have. I think like my favorite part about our this year's team was that we were very good at saying like I'm giving 100% of like what I have today, and that doesn't necessarily mean like that's 100% of what I have every day, but understanding like today is a good day, a bad day, whatever.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, that's also another part of story circle. Like you said earlier, I really love being able to be like, hey, I had a really stressful day. I hope you're all understanding that. And they always do, and it's perfect. It's really good. Yeah. Anything else for this question?
I think we covered it.
Perfect. Okay, so the next one is, what resources are there on campus?
For me, I spent a lot of time in our wellness center. I have my weekly therapy appointments. I have a couple people there that I can talk to and help sort out my mental health. Um, our wellness center also has really great like group therapy, group therapies that I would go to after practice. On my like sweaty lift clothes, I would run there. It was great. Um, but the wellness center is very helpful for like mental health and
Yeah.
understands a little bit of like what being a student athlete means too.
I totally agree. Yeah, I think that being able to talk about it is also awesome. Like our school in general does an amazing job at being open with your feelings, which is wonderful. So also professors are super understanding if you need like to push back an assignment or something. That's been really useful if you're just having a really rough week or if there's something going on in your life. They're super understanding.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you prepare for game day in practice?
Um, so whenever we walk to the field, there's a beautiful bridge. And right when I cross the bridge, I don't know what it is. I think it's the magical waterfall. I blame that. And I don't know, I just always have like a moment of calm, like right at the top of the bridge, because you can see almost all of Smith campus and it's just so awesome. But if we're not on the field, unfortunately, that day, whenever I cross the street to go past like the music building and to the gym, then like that's when I start to realize, okay, softball time, let's do this. Like that's when I get game day ready. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's a lot of sitting on the mez, which is the like study area, and kind of like lounge outside, like in Ainsworth, outside like the lift building. And I love getting there early and sitting on the mez and like maybe doing some homework, maybe just stare at my phone or out the window at the pretty view. Um, and I just kind of like focus in and say, okay, like I'm really big on setting like a goal for myself every day. And so I say like, okay, like my goal for today is like I want to throw really good screwballs or whatever it might be, or like I want to up my max on lifting or whatever it might be, and just kind of setting a goal and like sitting down and saying, okay, like it's time for this now, and like throw everything else out of my head.
Mm-hmm. I really like how you said like throw everything outside your head. For me, that's like a big part of my mental health for getting ready for games, practice, or whatever. I'm a big thinker, which is very unfortunate. But that often makes it really difficult to get in the right mindset, or you overthink a lot. I always do. So a big part of me, like getting ready for practice, game, or softball in any way, I just try to clear my head, whether that's listening to a cool song or just staring at nature for a moment or two, whatever it is, whatever I'm feeling that day. That's like the biggest part of my like getting ready for softball, which is good.
Yeah, and I think it's also for me at least, I found that if I have something going on and like I'm not really in the mood for softball or like I'm not really there, sharing that with one of my teammates helps a lot to just like clear it out and say, okay, like this is what's happening, and then use that to kind of like reset my energy and have
Yeah.
someone to like look out for me at practice to be like, okay, like yeah, you're a little upset right now, calm down, like you're gonna be fine, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I totally understand and agree on all counts. Like especially if you like have the same lift partner every day, it's really awesome to like not always vent, but sometimes when you need a good venting, lift can be the perfect time because there's really loud music going on and you can just be like, I have problems today. And that would be like the best way to start practice sometimes for me.
Yeah, throw some med balls against the wall always helps.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Is that good for this question? Okay. So what do you do to take time for yourself?
Oh, for myself, I'm trying to make it a rule that I go into town at least once a week.
That's
Even
good.
if it's just like I don't buy anything and I just walk around. Okay, normally I end up buying something. I always end up buying something. But even if I just go and walk around, it's like it for me that like clears out this whole my life is a mess, like Smith's this tiny bubble, to just be able to get downtown and say, okay, like the world is bigger than Smith College, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
I totally agree with that one. I wish that I went into town more often. A lot of the times, like, I was like, I just don't have time today. Like, I have too much work or whatever. Especially like later towards like finals time or midterms time, like I start to do that. But I try to make sure that I do whatever I want on Saturdays and avoid schoolwork. Sometimes that's just impossible to avoid schoolwork on Saturdays, especially during like hard times like finals and stuff. But the goal is like to try to do something for myself for at least like 4 hours on Saturdays. A lot of the times that's like sitting and watching movies as a house. We have a really, really good house community in my house. Shout out to Tyler. I'm so sorry. That was really cringy. Anyways, but we'll always watch like a movie most Saturdays in the living room. Whether the movie's good or not, that's who's to say. That always makes my day, sitting and watching a movie with my house. That or just sitting in my room too. Sometimes I just need some space. Depends on how my week's going.
That's really fair. I'm also big on, if I like have a lot of energy that I just need to get out, and like it's anxious energy or stress energy or whatever that might be, cooking. Really big on cooking to like clear out space and energy, and you get yummy food at the end of the day, which always helps the mental health.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. If I'm having like a really anxious mood that day, or if like I just can't focus on an assignment, because sometimes I'm just a spaz and I just can't focus, I'll like run up and down the stairs a few times, which sounds very panicked, but it works. It's a weird sight, but it helps me focus a lot sometimes. So that's a good one.
Getting that like extra workout in, even if it's not with the team, whatever it might be, running up the stairs, whatever. But like it can really help get those endorphins flowing, even if it's not like a team workout. And sometimes you just need like a little time by yourself to say, okay, like everything's fine.
Yeah. Especially one of my favorite things to do is like walk around the path in like the woods and stuff. That's really beautiful. That's my favorite. Especially in fall, it was so pretty. But yeah, that was my main way of getting away from schoolwork and having a relaxing Saturday. That or there's a bench by the waterfall. That's normally my spot to do work when the weather's nice.
So I've got a question for you, Sarah.
Go for it.
So you, like, we never got to play a game, sadly, but in the like practices that we had and like the scrimmages that we had, do you like, how did you prepare for like playing in the field in like a college setting? Was it different than high school, or was it like?
Honestly, in high school, I feel like it was kind of different just because my team had a way different atmosphere than Smith. Also, like, the bus rides were what I feel would be a lot more hectic with my high school team. Which were fine. Like, I kind of appreciated the hecticness just because I can stop thinking for a hot sec. But I felt like once I got into college, understanding my mental health was a much bigger part of getting ready for softball, like understanding what I need in that moment to get my head clear. And I really appreciate college for being that kind of like step forward and understanding myself more for what I needed in that day and that moment. Most of the time it was kind of just like me trying to stop thinking by like having like a weird moment or cracking a weird joke or something like that, or just running around the stairs or something, like just something really random. Just because that's how I stop thinking the best. Like I just do something really random, or I walk around in nature or something. That or just tell someone that I'm having a weird day, like just want to let you know, and that helped a lot too. But yeah, for that versus high school, I felt like in high school I had different coping mechanisms to get ready for the day, rather than college. But
It's amazing. I watched all the first years this year, and you guys weren't always the most put together, but you like have you like had it together in such a way that like you knew you weren't together, which is like the first step to fixing it, right? Last year, me as a first year, like I was all over the place. I didn't
That
even know I
honestly
didn't have
was
it
like
together.
the best sentence I've heard all day. Thank you so much for that, because that was so true.
Like I didn't even know I didn't have it together. Like you guys at least knew it, and that's the first step of fixing it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, we did a really good job of accepting that we're just like weird first years and we're very clueless, and understanding that we never had a season before, and like coming into like sophomore year and knowing that, and we're like, yeah, okay, so what are we gonna start to like getting everything together now? We can do this.
Trust me, it'll take a while.
Yeah, but yeah, I really appreciate the first years because we're all kind of like messes together, but that makes us like unified together, which is good. Anything else that you wanted to bring up, like your game day mentality, anything like that?
I think for me, for like a game day, granted it's been a year now, but especially like being a pitcher and like going out onto that mound like for the first pitch of the game, I absolutely hated it. For like half the year last year, I would not start a game, and Coach Lopez was like, "You can start," and I was like, "I don't want to." Like I wasn't like in a mental spot where I was confident enough in myself to do that. But as the year came to like the end of the year, I became a little bit more confident in my like ability to throw strikes and that I would have like my defense behind me. And so I think it's just kind of like understanding that growth is going to happen, especially in college. Like growth is going to happen really quickly. And that's okay. That's okay for everything to be changing all the time.
Yeah.
Especially with your mental health. Like your one day is going to be great and the next day is maybe not. And that's still okay too. Like that's still growth and it's going to come back up. And just like understanding that it is going to come back up eventually.
Yeah. One of the things in my mental health that I focus on the most is progress. No matter what it looks like that day, maybe it's like completing an assignment for work, or maybe it's spending time in the garden or whatever I really want to do. I just try to focus on progress, and that was one of the biggest parts for softball. And I wanted to say this season, but this year, especially for my first time like practicing indoors, I felt like kind of weird about it, especially in like Scott Gym. I just wasn't used to it, and understanding that it was my first time like being indoors and like working out, getting used to that was a good thing that I was proud of doing. And especially adjusting to like college life with softball, that was another like success in my head. Well, success, but yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
success.
Thank you. But yeah, it was kind of just like looking each day, like I'm not looking for giant jumps because that's realistically just never going to happen. At least for me, it's not. So understanding that every day I'm like, hey, did I do a little bit better today? Yeah, awesome. Or like understanding that if today was a rough day or if I just didn't do too hot, being able to look back and fixing whatever happened was a big part too.
Yeah. I think especially with the I can't remember the name of it, but the big chart that we had that we would color in every Friday.
Oh, yeah. I don't know the name either.
I don't know the name of it. But we would have this big chart and we'd made a whole bunch of lists, this whole list of like things that we wanted to watch our team do for the season. Like and it followed along with like our pact, passion, accountability, community, and trust. Yeah. And we had a whole bunch of like sub points off of that would say like, this is what we care about as a team. This is what we want to achieve every week. And then every Friday we would sit down and color in. We had it on this giant board and we'd color in the box for that week. And we'd say green, like we did a really good job. Yellow, we did an okay job. Luckily, we never had any reds. But just having like that mental check-in at the end of the week and say like, okay, like I did accomplish something. Like we did good. Or yes, we still have more work to do was really helpful for my mental health to have like a moment to just sit and take a break with it.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially like reflecting as a group was really good because we would all speak our mind on whatever we were feeling that week, and it was a really great space to be in Just because if someone was having an issue or if I was having an issue, I could happily just like say it out loud and there's no judgment at all, which was great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I felt like I vaguely did that for like myself. I wouldn't say like I legitimately had like a list out, but in my head I'd be like, hey, did I do better hitting today? Or this week in general, I'd be like, yeah or no. Depends on the week. And then I'd be like, okay, like maybe I talk to my old coach and be like, hey, this is what's up. Or if I just figured out myself one way or another, like as long as I keep going on with progress, it was good.
Yeah. I mean, I think like that's what I say like when I set a goal for myself every day, and then at the end of practice I can sit down and say like green, yellow, red, how did I do on my goal?
Mm-hmm.
And especially being a pitcher, like having a catcher that you can go to and say like, hey, how did I do on this? Or what do you think that I need to work on with this was really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that that was honestly a really great part. I really appreciated coming together as a team at the end of the week and being able to like check things, especially like the boxes because we would put them like really nicely. Like really satisfying, by the way. Sorry, odd note, but good. But that was really nice to check in because I felt like if it was like a panicky week, like if there was finals or just a lot going on, it was good to sit down as a whole and making sure that we like check in with each other. That was really good. Yeah.
Anything else for you?
Oh, what's your favorite spot on campus to like hang out at?
Oh, oof. When I'm like stressed and my mental health is not very good, I'm a big fan of either taking a walk in the woods if it isn't too cold. You're right. It's absolutely like that will up your mental health by so many points. Like it's the best out there. Or like before wellness appointments in like the wellness center, the second floor has these giant bean bags that you can lay on and just like, release all the stress in your body and just be completely like limp. Laying on this giant bean bag always helps. And it has a really nice view at the window of the gym.
Yeah.
You can like watch everyone walk into the gym and be like, oh, that's gonna be me later going to practice. But that's like probably my favorite spots.
Yeah. I don't know. I switch between two. I would say there's like one giant tree when you walk from like the botanical garden to the quad, and there's a bench like right in front of the tree. That's one of my favorite spots because it's where like the Mill River curves. So I really like that spot. And my other favorite spot, sometimes when it's cold, I'll even go there just to like get out of the house because sometimes I just get sick of like being inside. But I'll just like wear my giant puff and sit across from the waterfall and do work there because that was a really good spot. Oh.
The waterfall really does clear everything up.
It really does. 100%. Anything else?
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah, thanks guys.